this has been. You know, to all of you who are new members of the SNP, I hope you've enjoyed your very first experience of an SNP conference. I can tell you this, we have certainly enjoyed the new energy you have brought to our party and the enthusiasm that you've shown over the course of this weekend. To each and every single one of our new members, let me say this, you have not just made our party bigger, you have made our party better and you have made it stronger. So, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for choosing to be part of our family. You know, my first ever SNP conference was in Dundee, that other great city. There were less than 500 people at that conference. Things have changed a wee bit since then. We've got an awful lot bigger. I think we're going to need an even bigger venue next time round. This has really been a conference of firsts. It's been my first full conference as leader of the party and as First Minister of Scotland. It's Stuart's first conference as Deputy Leader of the party. We've tried lots of new things this weekend, including the fantastic new SNP app, which has already been downloaded by 5,000 people. So if you've not done it yet, get onto your phones and download it straight away, or wait until after Stuart's spoken and then download it. This has been an absolutely fantastic conference. It's not quite over yet though. We've got one or maybe two highlights left for you. And the first of these highlights, of course, is the address by our Deputy Leader. You know, I've been leader of this party for just 5 months, and I could not have wished for a better Deputy Leader than Stuart Hosey. As we have been preparing for the Westminster election, Stuart has been leading the charge. He's been overseeing the writing of our manifesto, and with our other MPs he's been holding the Tories, Labour and Liberals to account in the House of Commons. So he is a fantastic Deputy Leader of our party, and I know you are going to enjoy hearing from him in just a few seconds. But yesterday I told you that the SNP membership now stands at 102,143 members. I can exclusively reveal to you that since my speech yesterday afternoon, another 700 people I think all I really want to say is no pressure, Stuart. Conference, please give a rousing welcome to our wonderful Deputy Leader, Stuart Hosey MP.
Extra 700 members. No pressure. We'll have to start getting more family members to join up. Friends, we have come a very long way indeed since the 18th of September last year. From a referendum which was an act of national self-confidence and an act of national self-determination. And whatever our opponents say, it was profoundly positive, hugely democratic, and we should be proud of it. And how could it not be? when tens of thousands of activists like us were knocking on the doors of over 1 million identified independent supporters in the culmination of the biggest political campaign Scotland has ever seen. But as we've said, the result, although disappointing, was clear and we do not deny it. Nor, though, can anyone deny the incredible enthusiasm and energy which that campaign brought to Scotland, re-energising politics in every single corner of our land. But for me, it's what's happened since that's both fascinating and exciting for the future. We came to terms with the referendum result. Our opponents did not. Our determination to keep on campaigning for more powers was unmatched. Our opponents were caught flat-footed. They thought it would be business as usual. The determination that we had was shared by many, so that our party membership is now more than 102,000 members. And the opinion polls have given us a substantial lead over Labour for 6 months. Our focus is now on winning the general election in Scotland. That is the next part of our nation's democratic journey. So, let me be clear. This election cannot and will not be a rerun of the referendum. It is Scotland's chance to hold Westminster to account, to ensure they keep their promise, fulfil the pledge, honour the vows they gave to the Scottish people, and that was to deliver maximum devolution. That's the bar. That's the bar they set. It's our job to make sure they deliver. So let's remind ourselves precisely what it was we were offered. Gordon Brown said we're going to be, within 1 to 2 years, the closest thing to a federal state. It sounded very similar to the pledge or the vow made by the Prime Minister. If we get a no vote, he said, it would trigger major, unprecedented programme of devolution. And as we know, it was that promise of maximum powers which encouraged large numbers of people to vote no in the referendum. So we will now reach out beyond those who voted yes to those who voted no, expecting substantial new powers, and we will create a majority in Scotland for a Scottish Parliament with maximum power. Our opponents know we'll do that, which is why we now have a new vow. The vow 2, the return of the vow, the vow max. Labour politicians trying to pull the same stunt before an election they pulled before the referendum. But we will not be fooled this time, and the Scottish people will not be conned. Friends, the only way to make sure Westminster delivers on anything will be to return the largest number of SNP MPs ever to Westminster. Returning a large group of SNP MPs who will work together first to ensure promises made are delivered, and secondly to protect and further Scottish interests is vital. It will make the Scottish National Party the guarantors of real new powers. But as the First Minister has said, we're not simply talking about power for Scotland, but an end to austerity and cuts. You see, if the decisions which affect our lives are not taken here, they'll be taken somewhere else, and we've seen the consequences of that. An austerity programme from an austerity government which failed to deliver the growth the economy needs and is instead committed to making the same mistakes all over again. Remember what George Osborne promised. Debt would begin to fall as a share of GDP this year. The current account would be in balance next year. Borrowing would be reduced to barely £20 billion. Friends, debt did not fall as a share of GDP. The current account will not be back in the black for years. And borrowing won't be barely £20 billion this year. It'll be nearly 4 times as much at £75 billion. George Osborne has failed to meet any one of the single key fiscal targets he set for himself. Tory policy strangled recovery in the early part of this Parliament. And with 30 billion of new cuts to come, we are on track, unless we change, for a decade of austerity. We know it's failed, but it's worse than that. He's gone from a ratio of cuts to tax rises of 4-to-1 to 9-to-1. The clearest indication of a government trying to balance the books on the back of the poor. To that we say no thanks. So, there is a real alternative. A vote for the SNP is a vote to say enough is enough to Labour, Liberal or Tory cuts. A vote for the SNP will, possibly for the first time, give the Scottish people power to achieve real change at Westminster. And we need to change. Not just to say no to austerity, but to deliver real economic decision-making to Scotland. Not just 30% of our tax base, or 15% of our welfare budget, but the power to turn potential into profit, profit into prosperity, to deliver that prosperity with a purpose. Not just to grow the economy, to fund our public services, but to squeeze inequality out of society to underpin that economic growth in the first place. So, the big picture is a 0.5% modest, real terms increase in public spending, bringing down the deficit while ending the austerity cuts. But there's more. I hope we have a huge group of SNP MPs to vote for a national minimum wage rising to £8.70 by the end of 2020. A group of MPs who will press for a far more substantial take-up of the living wage. A group of MPs who will take tough action on tax avoidance. Friends, our MPs will vote for a tough tax dodgers bill. We will also provide certainty for our senior citizens. We will vote to keep the triple lock on pension increases. We will support a fairer Scotland, and we will prioritise the immediate scrapping of the bedroom tax. We will seek a halt to the rollout of universal credit and personal independence payments, stopping the savage cuts to disability benefits, and we will demand urgent changes to the DWP sanctions regime, which leaves people vulnerable, penniless and queuing at food banks, which is wrong in a rich country. We will vote to end the unfair business community, not by simply backing the Scottish Business Bonus, which we will, but by seeking proper legal protection to ensure small businesses are not only paid, but paid on time. And we'll keep our eye on the ball in the North Sea. SNP MPs will vote against the damaging tax changes we saw early in this Parliament. We will protect our place in the world and oppose an in-out referendum on Europe. And should one come, we will vote to stay. As Nicola has said, we will also insist on a double lock